Thank you for watching KTN. Welcome back. This is Checkpoint. But now let's talk about matters to do with blue economy. Now, the ocean is an expansive water source body that, if used well, can fetch trillions of money for individual countries. But did you know what an ocean entails? Our coast-based reporter Tobias Chanji with more on this special piece, Know Your Ocean.
From Vanga in the south coast to Kiunga in the north, the Indian Ocean coastline, which is approximately 600 kilometers, is part of a major shipping route for large petroleum and oil tankers. These products are transported from the Middle East to the rest of the world. But did you know that apart from transport, the Indian Ocean has a motley of activities? From fishing to ecotourism, mining to water sports. There is an abundance of resources, some of which are yet to be explored. Know Your Ocean is a weekly news program that seeks to enlighten you, our audience, on what is in the ocean. Walk with me, Tobias Chanji.
Since time immemorial, the port of Mombasa has been the gateway to East Africa by unlocking the landlocked countries and the Kenyan interior. Millions of containers full of products and goods are annually handled here. In conjunction with the Naivasha dry port, it has become also easy to transport some of the perishable goods, such as fruits, through rail.
Avocado ambayo inaendelea katika hii Kenya, kwa kila mwaka unakuta upanzi wa avocado ni sio chini ya milioni 1 ya miche ambazo zinapandwa hii Kenya.
Transportation from the road, from the farm to Mombasa costs up to $3,000. Why do we want to use SGR? We want to use SGR because it reduces time.
Wajue kwamba bandari iko hapa kusupport na kuhakikisha kwamba mali yao inasafirishwa kwa haraka bila hizi shida nyingi ambazo zimekuwa zikitukumba, huyu paka aweke sahihi. Sisi tunataka tuanze pia pamoja na Bwana Tiku kuhakikisha kwamba KPA kuanzia hapa kubeba mizigo kupeleka mpaka bandarini na kuenda kule kwa nchi tofauti, ndio bei irudi chini na ndio hawa wakulima waweze kupata faida katika hii kazi ambayo wanafanya.
Numbers in the tourism sector have too continued to soar thanks to the major cruise ships that continue to dock at the port. Crews from far and wide make trips here full of tourists who get time to sample Mombasa's historical sites.
She has called on Mombasa, transit from Mombasa to Lamu, picked the pilot outside port limits on Thursday.
23rd in the
evening. In the evening. They anchored Lamu, had a nice visit for the 128 passengers who were on board and the crew. She left yesterday evening with a pilot. Today she's here. She's disembarking about 125 passengers and embarking 180 with a crew of 125. She has been here before, I think late last year, on the same circuit. She has just come from, she started her voyage from Europe, Zanzibar, then Pemba, Lamu and Mombasa, going back to Seychelles again, hopefully. We have now in Mombasa, this is the 11th, I think, voyage we have done so far, with almost 6,000 plus passengers in total. Hopefully by December, we expect her to come back, two voyages with other ships, cruise ships. So we are optimistic that we are doing well.
We want this cruise to stay, at least the vessel to stay here for maybe 2 days, so people could go to Masai Mara, to Savo, Amboseli, could go to other parts in the sea spots, and maybe in Mombasa town to enjoy. There's so much, a lot to do in Mombasa town. As a tourism destination, we are happy that these crews are coming here down, and we are welcome them all the time with an open heart.
Good to be here. I haven't been here since I think it was 1998 with a warship.
With a warship.
So I haven't been here in many years on the east coast of Africa. I've done west coast. And for Swan Hellenic, it's important to put Africa on the cruise chart, because Africa is a place where not many cruise passengers has been before. So the concept of Swan Hellenic is to try to make Africa and Tanzania, Kenya, Seychelles a more attractive cruise destination. So I think you're one of the few companies actually coming here, I think. You haven't had many cruise ships here before, I believe.
Oh, the trip was wonderful, yes. This is actually the end of our trip. We started in Mahi, and cruised through the Seychelles. And the trip ends here for most of the passengers. They're taking flights back to wherever they came from. For me, it's back to Canada. And then the other people are staying on the boat, and they're heading to South Africa, I believe. In Canada, we get many people from Kenya, so it's interesting to come here and see the home country. I appreciate that.
Tell Canadians back at home.
Oh, that it's worth coming to visit and having a look around and seeing how the other people live, other parts of the planet.
Others, however, find solace in the waters, like these who can find time to swim with whale sharks at Diani Beach. It is factual that most tourists only focus on land animals, but there is a new gem in the waters. A story is told of how God was pleased in molding up the whale sharks that have continued to attract tourists who in turn offer employment. Those who don't fancy swimming with the whale sharks will fancy deep sea fishing. This day, I accompanied the local fishermen and 2 Burundian nationals for the activity, while the locals like Mzee Mwadola Ali Tabwa do it as an economic activity. The Burundians do it as a sport.
Kazi ya fishing nimeanza kitambo sana, from 83. By that time nilikuwa crew mpaka ilipofika 92 nikapata Cox 1 certificate. Kwa hiyo mpaka sasa mimi ni captain. Mavuvi kwa sasa si mazuri vile, lakini natumaini itakuwa mzuri. Inategemea bahati yako. Unaweza kupata samaki moja ya kilo 200, 300 kwa siku kwa samaki moja. Saa nyingine unakwenda unapata samaki zile dorados, yellowfin tunas, size kama kilo 80 namna hii.
Nimetokea Burundi kwa jina maarufu Anu, na rafiki zangu hapo tumekuja, tumeamua tuje fishing leo. Tumerenti hiyo boti kwa muda wa masaa 4. Sasa hivi ndio tumemalizia, tumerudi. Mara nyingi tunavua kwenye lake tofauti na ocean. Ocean tukija hapo tunafurahi, tunaingia hapo Watamu, samaki zipo. Tukija hapo ndio mara kwanza tumeona leo yellowfin, tumeziona, tumeona dolphin, tumeona sailfish, lakini bahati mbaya hatukuzishika, hatukupata moja. Kwa bahati mbaya asubuhi imechomoka.
All these activities depends on a full interdependent ecosystem of the ocean. For fish to increase, seaweed and corals reefs are of major importance. With the time, however, these have been depleted. To mitigate these, organizations such as Revolution have come out with measures of planting corals in the ocean. With the time, the corals grow to improve the habitat that is crucial for the survival of water creatures like fish and turtles, among others.
A coral is actually a rock. People think it's a rock. It's calcium carbonate. Also here in the background, all the rocks you see used to be all coral, live coral. And the skeleton is on the inside, but the live tissue is on the outside. So if my hand would be the coral skeleton, then the glove is the live tissue of the coral itself.
So what we do, we dive into the ocean and we look for corals of opportunity. These corals are found on the bottom of the ocean. They can be broken off by fishing activities, by waves, or by sea turtles resting on them. We take these broken coral fragments and then we put them in coral tree nurseries. You see coral tree nurseries here in the back, and we hang them in there.
It's also called the tropical forest of the sea because they provide as much life as the tropical rainforests do in the Amazon. And therefore, if we lose this ecosystem, it might be the first ecosystem we lose with lots of marine life. In my eyes, if we manage to preserve this ecosystem, the coral reefs, then I think we can also preserve all the other ecosystems on the planet, as we might lose them due to overexploitation and climate.
Indeed, the ocean is endowed with many resources which, if taken seriously, cities and prospects can improve.
Na transport sector hatujaitumia kabisa. Transport sector ya upande wa bahari ni kidogo tu, ni meli za kutoka nje zinaingia zinatoka. Kwa mfano, hakuna transport ya marine, ya sea transport kutoka Lamu mpaka Mombasa. Huo ni mfano mdogo. Kwa hivyo, na kuna sehemu nyingi zingine, kwa mfano discovery za madini ya chini ya bahari hakuna imefanywa, yaja tu yafanywa mafuta, na madini mengi ile ya gali yatoka chini ya bahari, na ambapo ikifanywa, ikitoa contract kwa yale mashirika ya nje, inaweza kuja ikafanya na ikatoa. Blue economy ni economy ambayo inatosha kuendesha Kenya, kwa sababu ni nyingi, inahusikana na mambo mengi na zote tunazo. Kwa mfano, bahari yetu hata hatujafanya mapping sawa sawa, kama nilivyosema, spatial planning ya bahari.
Sisi tulikuwa tuwafikiri watu wa hapa coast tutahusishwa kama wenyeji ambao tuelewa blue economy, yani inatu affect directly. Kama kwa mfano haya, sisi watu wa kufanya hizo mambo ya seaweed, kuna watu wengine kwa mfano wavuvi, kuna watu wa kutengeneza, yani watu wapandaji wa mikoko, mambo kama hayo, sisi ndio tuwafuatwe kwenye hiyo blue economy ndani.
So this year, remember we have the decade of the we call it UN decade of ocean science. It's so important as a Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, being a national research institute. What is our position in this important decade? What we are trying to do is to link the decade with the sustainable blue economy. How can we advance the science of the ocean to be able to capture more from the ocean? For instance, in mariculture, I told you this ocean can give us almost 300 billion Kenya shillings per year on fisheries, if we were to invest in proper fisheries of the deep sea. But when you look at what we are getting now, it's really little. We are all